welcome along, and we are ready for the start of a whole new season. Ready for the autumn series here at Supercars NZ, and it's all going to be right here on the Broadcasting Lounge all season long. Tonight we kick things off with round one of the Gen 3 V8s at what is going to be a very fascinating challenge for the guys to take on with the ever popular Chicago street circuit. I know you like this circuit, Corey. That's why you put it up for one of your enduros for mental health a couple of years ago, and I'm looking forward to calling it. What about you?
I don't know if I'm a fan of the track itself. I actually enjoy watching racing here because it gets hairy and scary, and there's plenty of walls. But I've never had much luck here. Been taken out by Sean McNamara. We did 3 heat races, and 2 of the heat races I got taken out by Sean McNamara once, and I never really came back. But yeah, we did have it for the Enduro for Mental Health, and it was a success. And hopefully there's some success for some of these guys out here tonight. We've got roughly about 26 drivers, I think, 27 roughly. So that's a few cars around here, mate.
Yeah, it should be quite good. Early on in the evening, numbers were looking like they might be a little bit smaller, but looks like a fair few have come in a little bit late. And yeah, we've got 24 that have set a time, and looks like there's about two or three. I see Phil Carpenter's name there, but I know it looked like he had jumped into the wrong session and gone back over to Div 2. But yeah, it looks like there are maybe two or three others in that haven't set the time. So looking at around that 26, 27 mark. So that will be a good little field. And this is what they've got to contend with tonight. So track map on the right of that little box there. The track map itself probably doesn't explain the challenge of the track, because the challenge is that it's lined with concrete walls all the way along, all the way around, and it's a track that one of our former regular racers found some success at in real life when he went and raced NASCAR there first time in a NASCAR and won the race. Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, how good was that? And he's still out there, over there, giving it his best shot among a lot of other Kiwis out in the world, showing their colours.
He sure is. And actually, an interesting thing about this track as well is iRacing actually created this track, obviously based on real streets around Chicago. They went and scanned some real tracks, but they created the concept originally for the NASCAR E Series, and then it proved so popular there that there were some slight modifications that they made for improved safety to go racing in real life, but NASCAR actually made it happen off the back of that. And we've got those modifications in the current layout on the sim, and it is all up to date with the most recent Cup Series layout, which is pretty cool. But at the moment, we've got some Gen 3 cars going around there in qualifying into the last couple of minutes for that, and it's currently Leo Duncan holding pole position from 0.068 of a second over Darren Lobb. So Darren, we know how strong he is in a V8 supercar, but at the moment he hasn't been able to surpass the time of Leo Duncan. Leo just cruising around at the moment. I'm pretty sure Darren's just come out of the pit, so he's on an outlap at the moment. He should have enough time to start a hot lap, but he's going to have to get a wriggle on.
Yeah, interesting. These two so close once again. They were fighting for the championship all last season, and just found out tonight that if Leo Duncan had turned up for the last round, he would have been our champion. But yeah, 3 drop rounds last season. We're down to 0 drop rounds this season. So we'll, yeah, got to turn up and race as many races as you can. I guess there's a little bit of motivation there for Leo.
Yeah, absolutely. And some tight times in behind as well. So there's half a second from Darren back to Matthew Pluck, but then looks like, well, there's a, so from Matthew back to Trent in P9, that's only 0.38 of a second. So three nearly 4 tenths in itself is a decent gap, but that's spread over 6 positions, and all the gaps on the way down there are less than a tenth between each position, so it's very tight all the way down.
Actually, just looking at Trent, he actually went out and just did one lap. He did one qualifying lap, and he's parked it up in the pits, and that's got him to now 10th. Stefan McCartan just bumping up one spot into P9.
Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. Stefan, last season's champion, and both did one V8s and Thursday night GTEs, um, but maybe not gelling with this track down in P9 there. So not the night he would have been hoping for so far. Darren Lobb has gone purple in the first sector on this current lap, so we'll stick with this.
We get an onboard.
We
See what it's
can.
like to cruise around these streets, and some of these corners, they're tight and then into little skinny laneways.
Yeah, they sure are. And Darren has gone purple in the middle sector as well with a 25.76. Not sure how that compares to Leo's best time. I think I've only seen his most recent times on the live time in there, but certainly fastest out of everybody as he winds on the opposite lock out of the final corner, pulling gears now down towards the line, comes across the line, and he's just lost out in that final sector. He's slotted into P2. Has improved on his time, but hasn't been able to find enough to jump ahead of Leo there. So Leo Duncan going to sit on pole
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, so he was slightly quicker in the first over. Darren was quietly, get tongue tied here. Lobby was slightly quicker in the first, quicker in the second, and in the third, slightly slower than Leo Duncan, just enough to get Leo Duncan that pole position, the first one of the season. And just while we're looking at that fountain, the great Sean McNamara pointed out to earlier that that's the fountain from Married with Children.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust Sean to recognise that.
Wow, into a 5 minute warm up where the traditional safety truck warm up with Sean McNamara, just getting out there, testing it out. And Shane, we've got an action packed season too. The season for the V8s is looking pretty good, and the season for GTE is looking pretty good.
Yeah, both seasons looking very entertaining. On the
Yes.
schedule for GTEs as well, there is currently scheduled for week 11 Nürburgring combined, but just watch this space on that one. We can probably talk a little bit more about that on Thursday, but that may change. Probably won't be part of the regular championship if we do go ahead with what we're looking at doing there. But yeah, I think probably one to talk more about on Thursday night, but certainly a very entertaining season planned for the V8s. We're off to
Yeah.
Spa next week. I love that track, and surprisingly the V8s go quite well around there for what is a fast flowing Grand Prix circuit.
Are you sure?
Sorry, no, that's looking at the GTEs. That's
Sebring for the
we're
V8s next
off to
week. Yeah.
Sebring next week. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, Sebring, Bathurst, Mid-Ohio, Donington Park, Barber Motorsport Park, Winton, Mosport, or Canadian Tire, Daytona, what's that one? Autódromo Carlos Pace, so that's got another name.
That one
Brazil.
is Brazil, yes.
That's
Interlagos.
kind of, yeah, that's it. I was trying to get it out. VIR and Sonoma NASCAR short. That one will be very interesting to round out the season too. And yeah, the GTEs, Spa obviously on Thursday this week, the GP pits, Daytona, Suzuka, Monza, Road Atlanta, Algarve, Bathurst. So we go to Bathurst in both series this season. Sebring, Watkins Glen Boot, Laguna Seca, and obviously watch the Space Week 11 and Detroit to round it out.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Great to see Bathurst coming up in both calendars because it has been a little while since we've seen Bathurst pop up in the schedule. So great that we're going to bring the V8s there. It's a natural home, I guess, for those cars, isn't it? And GT racing, obviously very common there with GT3s with the 12 hour, but putting GTEs around there is going to be very interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, could be a bit of fun. Could be a bit of fun. And also, don't forget, if you're on the hunt for some sim products, you can head to allports.nz. And if you're looking around at the SimLab NZ or the SimLab products that they have in stock there, and on checkout, you punch in SimLab NZ at checkout for 10% off selected SimLab products. So that's at allports.nz. And they're a long-time sponsor of the V8s, and absolutely love them for that, as Balaki does safety truck pitching.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Corey, because you've reminded me that I was going to put that code in the scrolling text up the top, and I had completely forgotten about it. But now I can I can get that in.
If you don't say anything, if you didn't say anything, then I wouldn't even have noticed. But yeah, if you're watching and yeah, you're after some lab products through all ports, you can get 10% off, and there's some pretty cool stuff. And I believe a lot of it's probably works with other aluminium protrusion rigs.
10% off.
Yes, 10%.
There we go. So that is. Now I've got the right code there. So I'll have to let it scroll around.
I hope so.
It'll come up in a minute.
The silence.
Here we go.
Yeah, I believe it. It should work. Should work like
Okay.
that. Um,
Mint.
the way it was worded was a capital S and capital NZ, but I believe it should probably work either way.
Well, let's just for safety, let's get that
As
sorted.
everybody grading up, and Leo Duncan takes pole position. Darren Lobb is in P2. Matthew Pluck, P3. Daniel Heddershide, P4. Bruce Tannock, P5. Roger Forbert, P6. Michael Gunstone, P7. Jason Cossey, P8. Stefan McCartan, P9. Trent Bennett rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, and then we've got Chris Zapasich in 11th, Jared Eccleston off P12, Peter Vanderberg P13, Zach Christie P14, Michael Jones P15, Jono Gibson P16, and then going back to Nathan Cadman, Connor Brody, Darren Lord, sorry, Scott McKenzie, Eamon Young, Billy Rowley, Tony Lynch, Blake Greenhill, and it sounds like we've got revs coming up, ready to go. The lights are up, and we are away. Bit of wheel spin in the mid pack there, but Leo getting off to a good start, immediately covering Darren Lobb, and there's contact there, rubbing. Matthew Pluck's got a good one from the second row, and Leo is into the fence. Oh, he's backed into traffic as well, facing the wrong way. Stephen McCartan caught up in that, picking his way through. They've both dropped to the back, but it's Daniel Heddershide that has benefited from that. He goes to the lead. Darren Lobb sitting in P2. Bruce Tannock up to P3 early on, up a couple of spots early in this one. Darren Lobb had a little bit of a look on the inside of Daniel Heddershide there, but not able to make anything work there so
Yeah,
far.
and I think that inside or the outside, sorry, for Daniel Heddershire worked all in his favour there with that little bit of trouble on the outside and a bit of fence.
yeah, the seas sort of parted for him, didn't he? Didn't they? And he walked through the door, and other than that little moment between Darren and Leo there, it seems to be pretty clean other than that on the first lap. So good work from most of them. I've got data on Johnny Gibson and Billy Rowley having issues, maybe a related issue out there as well, but currently Daniel Heddershide all working in his favour, but Darren Lobb looking to make a move into turn one on the second lap, gets it down the inside. Darren leaves the space for him, recognises that he's not going to be able to hold Darren off on that one, and slots into P2 and manages to hold off Bruce Tannock, but Daniel actually had a little bit of a slide off turn two, could still be vulnerable down into turn four, although it's a tricky spot to try and make it fast, but I wouldn't rule out. Oh, as
Ooh,
Daniel, yeah, Daniel runs wide and hit the fence. What I was just about to say is I wouldn't rule out Bruce making a move anywhere. If he gets half a sniff, he's going to go for it.
yeah, I think just settling in at this point and wait for the driver in front maybe to make a mistake. Already hit the wall. Hopefully no damage there. Another car hitting the wall there too. A puff of smoke.
Yeah, I think that was Jason Cossey just running a little bit wide there and clipping the wall. It's going to be a race where a lot of cars are going to have some battle scars on them when they come in for their fast repairs. They'll get that all cleared up, but then I think even post pit stop they will have battle scars on at the end of the race. It's just going to be one of those things where you you wander a millimetre offline and you're going to be giving the wall a rub, and hopefully it's just a rub and nothing that's going to do any more serious damage.
Yeah, looks like we've already had one give it more than a rub. Billy Rowley currently got the mechanical black flag, the meatball. So he'll be coming into the pits. So he's one of 4 drivers from Div 2 to make the jump up to Div 1 as well.
Yeah, Billy Meowley makes his way into pit lane. The return of the Meowley.
Yeah, Zach Christie, Michael Jones, Billy Rowley, and Nathan Cadman all making the jump up from Div 2.
So Stephen McCartan, after getting caught up in that drama between Leo and Darren there, has carried on, hasn't come in for a fast repair, missing that front splitter, so that will be affecting his downforce, and has been able to make up a few spots though, and he's just grabbed another one there as I think, yeah, Darren Lord just going deep at the end of the back straight there and finding the tyres and struggling to get out of there now as well.
Excuse me, I just got to answer this phone call.
And looks like Darren's car's pulling hard left there, so I think he's going to have to tow to the pits. He'll have to request a tow. Watch the space because we could end up with a safety car. Roger Forber, I think, has just managed to pick off Jason Cossey for a P6 there. No word on the safety car. Darren has towed to pit lane. I don't believe we're currently on the yellow. No.
No
Um,
safety cars out. They're both puckered up. Was given the all clear to tow by race control, Darren Lord.
okay, so race control obviously determining that Darren was in a position where he could have been recovered safely in a real scenario. Obviously, a big enough gap on the track and maybe a spot where they could get him over the wall there.
So a black flag, a drive-through penalty to Darren Lobb, car 99 for avoidable contact. So he's going to have to take a
Ooh.
tour of the pit lane. And there's a name in the comments we haven't seen for a while, Mr. Michael Ward. And Scotty, as always, hello. And not so safety first there from Michael Ward.
Yeah, Michael referencing the sponsor on the side of Darren Lord's PSR Mustang there, safety first Tauranga.
So all that gap, that almost 4-second gap that Darren Lobb's got, it's all going to go down the drain. When he comes down the lane, that's going to hand it back to Daniel Hedderscheid, who's still got Bruce Tannock behind him and his mirrors all over each of the 3 mirrors, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is why Darren has got that drive through. So off the start, Matty Pluck actually got a good jump. He was all the way alongside, but just in the wrong place. And wow, you know what? I'm not. I want to have another look at that. Oh, there is that touch there which has unsettled him. I was thinking, I'm not sure how innocent Matt Pluck is in that one, but I do think he was on his line, and Leo just came across probably as a result of that initial contact from Darren. So I think it's the front to rear contact in the braking zone, which is where race control have determined the penalty is. There was a bit of moving over from both guys and a bit of rubbing on the straight, so there was a bit more to it, but yeah, race control obviously determining that Darren could have done more to avoid the contact, and that he was responsible for the nose to tail contact there.
Yeah, didn't hear any sort of fight back from him, so yeah, just sort of take it. But there is a ticket system. If anyone's unhappy with it, they can put in a ticket the night of the race.
Yeah, they absolutely can. Just having a look as well. So Jono Gibson also came across on the first lap. Looks like this might be a turn one thing as well. Has he got caught up in... Oh yeah, so when Leo tried to get himself out of the wall, unfortunately Jono was first on the scene. And then it looks like Philly Rowley and Jono might have been caught up in something. No, this is continuing on from the same thing as well, so yeah, just everybody checking up into each other, so all just a continuation of that turn one incident. But I believe this one will be what caused Billy to make that pit stop that we saw him make. So this is the end of the back straight, locking the rears on the way in, and as he's gathered that up, unfortunately he's just running out of room on the right and missing the tyres as well, hard into the concrete, and does well to wait for everybody to go past before he plucks reverse and gets it out of there, but
Oh, there goes the
very
bumper.
unfortunate for him.
Oh, he said Daniel Hedderscheid still holding off the fight from the great white shark, Bruce Tannock.
Yeah, currently P2, but Darren yet to take that drive-through penalty. Scotty Pickering saying unsafe rejoin for Leo. On what we've seen, I tend to agree with that, but potentially nobody's called that one in, and I believe the policy at the moment is race control require incidents to be called in.
Yeah, live race control, of course, means we've got a safety truck that can come out, as we see.
Oh,
Yeah, Brucey taking the inside there. Is it going to be enough? Daniel's going to fight it back, or is he going to slot back in? Good fight back from Daniel Hedderscheid here too. Side by side down the straight.
yeah, and Daniel's going to have the inside for the next three corners as well, but can Bruce go the long way around? He's going to give it a go. Oh, is there enough room down there for them? There is, and they've worked through it, and Daniel comes continuing to hold the lead, and he has taken the lead now because Darren has been in for that drive-through penalty now. So Darren looks like he's come out down in P10. He'll be on the fight back from there. We'll see how far he can get up. Bruce just rubbing the wall on the exit of that left-hander there.
Yeah, no compulsory pit stops too. So they have restricted fuel, so they're going to have to stop and get some fuel. But yeah, we have seen that in the past. Darren Lobb, through the pit stops, has found his way back up at the front. So only time will tell. We're only 8 laps into this 33-lap race.
Yeah, very early on still. Still a few laps short of that 1/3 marker, which would be at 11 laps. And Daniel's actually been able to pull out a little bit of a margin over Bruce since they went side by side, but certainly not running away with it. Oh, there's drama in the background there. That's Darren Lobb. Darren Lobb has spun, has lost the front bumper, has come back into the pits. He's
Yeah,
going to get a faster, or is he just going to drive through because he had nowhere else to go?
he's on a meatball, so he's got some
Okay.
damage there. So maybe fast repair and an even bigger fight back. He's popped down to P25. Sorry, no, that's Darren Lord. That's happened twice. He's P24. They're side by side now. So, yeah, well, they're, one of, yeah, I did wonder how long it was going to take before we mixed that up, and it didn't take you long.
Didn't take me long. And the worst thing is, their first names aren't even spelled the same. Lobby spells it with a Y, D-A-R-R-Y-N, and Lord spells it D-A-R-R-E-N.
Yeah, one with an E and one with a Y. I have both in my name, an E and a Y.
You do. Um, but yeah, so Darren taking that fast repair, looked like he took the time to get some fuel into the car and possibly some fresh tyres as well. Whether he's going to have enough to get home from here, we might just have to wait and see. Um, but yeah, he is right down the back of the field now, so not the best of nights from him so far, or for him. And we can see how he ended up there. Oh, well, that's actually only the very, well, not even the very end of it. There was more after that, but certainly not the start of it.
Been a change for the lead too. Bruce has got around Daniel Hedershine, and there has been a call to race control.
Just bear with me as I see if I can pinpoint the data to give us the start of that incident. I have a feeling could be somewhere around here. That hasn't worked at all. Good to know. Try again. Here we go. Alright. So that was it, but it hasn't quite given us the full story. Let's see what the chopper's been able to pick up on that one. Oh, so there's side-by-side contact down the straight.
Okay, so
Oh,
Bruce Tannock has now been asked to redress with Daniel Hedershine.
oh, okay, so there's something that's gone down there that we haven't seen. Bruce has moved ahead of Daniel. And it looks like we have got some data on that, so we'll just keep an eye on this to see if he follows Russell Cole's direction, because it looks like he's still pushing pretty hard at this point, but maybe just letting that gap ease up a little bit now. Still not jumping out of the way though.
No, well, there's a chance here because obviously Matthew Pluck, he's heard the call. So he's just going to try and follow Daniel Hedershine around here. So Bruce is going to be reluctant. He's going to lose 2 spots. These two have opened up a wee gap too back to Michael Gunstone too. He's another almost 3 seconds back down the road.
So Bruce moves across to the right and does roll out of it now.
Yeah,
And,
like,
well, I wonder if he just picked up on a bad exit from Plucky there and picked his moment, because Plucky did drop a little bit of a gap to Daniel, and it was just enough of a gap for Bruce to slot in there. So this, I believe, should tell us the story of why Bruce was asked to redress. So this is through the fountain section, coming into the penultimate corner. Daniel rubbing the wall there. Bruce gets down the inside, but side-by-side contact, and yeah, he was a little bit locked up and wasn't probably wasn't making the apex all that cleanly, and made that side-to-side contact, push Daniel wide, and race control deemed that warrants a bump and run, and they asked him to redress that one, and I think that's probably a fair call, and now we can race on.
yeah, just Bruce is going to have to pick that right time to make a pass.
It's certainly not easy around here, is it?
No, it's not one of those tracks for passing, no. And these cars have proved to be pretty hard to make passes in too. Uh, did they do any updates to them in the new season? I didn't take much notice.
Nor did I, to be fair. I was a little bit disinterested in the new season build this time around, because there wasn't really a lot in the way of new content delivered. Not sure there was any new content actually delivered, but to be fair, they have been working hard on refreshing a lot of NASCAR tracks. So that's come out, and there have been some new LMP2 physics out as well. So the iRacing team have been working hard, and we do thank them for providing the service that we all love going racing on week in, week out. But yeah, a little bit lacking in new content this time around, I think, just because they've been focusing their efforts on other areas.
And another drive-through penalty has been handed out. Car 41, Zach Christie, for avoidable contact. So I'm not too sure where that one happened, but he's going to have to take a tour down the lane to get rid of the black flag.
Yes, is that Christie currently sitting in P13? Unlucky for some, they say, but it was pretty lucky for me last week when my number 13 raffle ticket won me a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Oh, how good.
Unfortunately, not seeing anything in particular that springs to or jumps to my attention under Zach Christie's name. So not quite sure we're going to be able to get the replay on that unless we can work out who called it in, but probably not, I'm guessing.
No, I didn't quite hear the numbers, but as we see a few cars making that pit stop to get that fuel to get them home, 4 cars down the lane, Trent Bennett, Chris Suppersuch, Zach Christie obviously doing a drive-through, so we won't count him, and Eamon Young.
Well, actually, this is the pit stop for Zach Christie, not serving the drive-through just yet. He's stopped in his box, so getting some fuel now and probably some tyres as well, and I suspect he's probably going to come around again and serve that drive-through next time around.
Another meatball flag out. Nathan Cadman, 187, he has come a croppers somewhere. Meatball flag, as we just seen, that maybe a
Oh,
digital diesel car, was it?
I think that might have happened at the worst possible moment for Nathan, because when we were looking at Zach initially in the pit lane, I saw a passion car looking in very much similar condition to what Nathan's Camaro is there, rolling down the main straight. So I think he might have got it in the final corner and wasn't able to get into pit lane. Currently looks like he's stuck. That replay's not going to help us. This one might. Currently looks like he's stuck up at that right-hander at turn 4 there. Oh, so he actually already had the front missing. That was when I saw him go past that he had the front bumper missing, and then he's lost it out of turn 1, and that's where he's picked up the meatball. So he's had a couple of moments out
There
there,
we go.
but
I think we might have the safety car out. He's just called for a tow, Nathan Cadman, and safety car boards and flags. Aaron Goodrick's got a black flag.
yeah, he's just charging out of the pits. That's what he said he was going to do. Just speed out of the pits, clear the flag later. But we do have the safety truck on circuit. He's going to be waiting for Daniel Heddershide, but Daniel yet to pit. I suspect he's probably going to get that pit stop done now, because if he doesn't, he's going to have the whole field and a lot of guys that have pitted very close to him.
I can
And
tell you that not many have. Nobody down to P12, Leo Duncan, first car that has made a pit. So that horrible start could benefit him here if he manages to get around in front of these guys. Tony Lynch, Derek Lovegrove have not pitted either, but everybody else below them has made a pit stop.
so Leo Duncan pitted on lap 1, so I think he's still going to need to come in and grab some fuel under the safety car
Right.
here.
Yep, it is.
So
Yep.
Darren Lobb
Aaron Lobb.
last in on lap 8. That was for a fast repair, and he did take some fuel. Does he need more? If he doesn't need any more, he's coming in. So, oh, Jared's made I heard he did that. Or was it him that I heard did that last night? Someone I heard did that last night. But anyway, he's jumped a few cars that have been in the lane, and he's up to P9. But Michael Jones actually not pitting and has jumped to the lead, but he is going to be very vulnerable now as Daniel Heddershide comes up on the back of him. Having made that pit stop just shy of halfway through the race, you would have to assume that he's got enough fuel to get home. And I'd be very surprised if the same was true for Michael Jones. And in fact, Michael spotting a bit of damage on the front splitter there. From the long shot, it looked like there might have been a bit of extra tow on the front wheel as well, but it might just be the angle that the bodywork's lining up to it with that splitter having been punched in. So I think mechanically he might be alright. Tell you what.
Matty McDonald, send Sean McNamara a message in Discord. Sean NZ.
So when we get to a straight bit of track, you might be a little bit left hand down there, but nothing too major, so should be
Connor
okay
Brody.
mechanically.
Connor Brody's on a meatball now too, so obviously something's happened there.
So Michael now taking his pit stop.
And Trent Bennett was given a 5-second penalty to serve at his pit stop for contact with car 43 last corner.
Car 43 is
Jonesy.
Jared Eccleston. So, well, I saw contact involving Jared Eccleston, but it looked like Jared was the car behind on that one, so maybe there was something else.
Green this next lap.
Remind me again the name of the driver that got the penalty for that one?
Trent Bennett.
Trent Bennett.
Yeah, car 69, Trent Bennett. 5-second penalty to be served at his pit stop, which I'm not sure if he did or not. There was no actual thing handed out.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's generated data under either name there. So we're not going to be able to go and pick up on that one. But yeah, I think the contact I saw involving Jared as a car was coming into the pit lane, I think that was a passion car that he had contact with, so I don't think that was Trent. So probably something else that's gone on there somewhere.
Yeah, yep. We can't see it all here in the broadcasting lounge, but we do our best. We're about halfway. Well, just roundabout, kind of sort of way. We're about to go green. The safety truck has pulled away.
Yeah, Daniel
Daniel
Hedeshire.
Hedeshire in control.
Yeah, and he's going to go now. Bruce Tanak sticking with him, but not able to make him into turn one.
Yeah, Lobby's made his way. He restarted in P17, so he was down in 24th and is in P16 now. So he's made a pass already. It'd be interesting. He'll fight his way through the field. That safety car might help him out a little bit to at least get a little bit higher up.
Yeah, certainly bunched everybody up for him. He did need to come in and get some fuel under that safety car, so it didn't help him as much as it might if he'd already had the fuel in. But yeah, bunches the field up and gives him that opportunity to make some passes in a short space of time. But of course, everybody was pretty well bunched up after he had that one incident, and well, after he served the drive-through penalty, I should say, and it was in the pack that he came across with there. So still has to be careful and pick his way through cleanly, because he's learnt the hard way already that there can be drama to come from picking your way through the pack when it's all bunched up. Jared Eccleston has a bit of a misfits train behind him, broken up by the blackout OPR entry of Stephen McCartan there. And Stefan's got around the outside of turn two and just drags Roger off down the straight and gets that position. That was a very dominant move there. Next one in his sights is going to be Roger Forbett, but Roger currently engaged in that battle with Jared Eccleston as well. Like Jason Cossey and Michael Gunstone were going side by side, and Jason actually just put a pass on Michael there for P4. Looks like Michael's just struggling a bit. He's dropped that spot and dropping back into the clutches of Jared Eccleston as well, so not sure if he's picked up some damage somewhere, but his car looks okay. He just seems to be, maybe he's just lost his rhythm or something.
It's easy to do. You just touch the wall a little bit and get a little bit of damage. Ooh.
Yeah, certainly once you lose a bit of confidence around a track like this, it can really put you on the back foot, because you need to be confident in where you're placing your car. Once you've lost that, it's very hard to be able to push it to the limit when you're constantly thinking about, am I going to put it in the wall? Looks like he might be back up to speed now, seems to be keeping it pretty steady back to Jared, so I think just losing that spot to Jason just probably threw off his rhythm a little bit there and had him on the back foot, but it looks like he's getting settled back into it now.
So a time penalty, 5-second time penalty was handed out to car 187, Nathan Cadman. Then he disconnected. I frown upon that. I'm just going to say that. And get a penalty. Don't disconnect. That Christie did that too.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And of course, they're going to pay an even greater penalty now, and that they're going to score 0 points because you have to. Oh, Stefan looked like he gave the wall a decent hit on the exit of the fountain section there, but looks like he might have got away with it. But yeah, you do have to finish the race to be scored points. So those guys that have disconnected are going to be 0 points this evening. As Stefan was making his way around Roger, Jared's just taken the opportunity to put down some pace and has closed the gap up to Michael Gunstone, putting a bit of pressure on him now, but Stefan is coming quickly now.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time with Stefan McCartan. It doesn't matter what he drives. The man is always in some sort of form.
Yeah, he sure is.
Nico, g'day mate. Not racing in the V8s this season, and I see. We'll see you on Thursday, mate.
Well, actually, I believe we're not going to see him on Thursday.
Oh, right, no, next Thursday. All right.
Yeah.
You're missing out on Spa, mate. You're missing out on a great track. Yeah, I could definitely get on board with that, Scotty.
Yeah, minus 5 points for bailing. That's not a bad idea.
So, Chris Uppersich, car 101, has been given a black flag for avoidable contact. I didn't catch the number of the car that it was with.
Chris 7 that drive through now.
Good boy. Let's just have a look. So, some big movers through the field. I'm checking out. So, Derek Lovegrove's up 12 spots into P17. And Russell Pepperell, he's up 13 spots into P12. So, they're your two biggest movers.
Yeah, well, that's pretty big effort from both of them to be up double digits at a track like this. As Russell looked like he was struggling to get it turned at the left-hander there, but just managed to keep it off the wall.
But Leo Duncan, we could give him a little side prize there. So he got as far down to completely last the first lap, and he's up to P9, only 8 spots down from where he started.
Yeah, that's a good recovery drive, isn't it? And obviously, being that he had to do that on, or take that fast repair on lap one, to be, he still had to make that second stop there under safety car to get the fuel to get to the end and to work his way back up inside the top 10. At a track like this, that is no mean feat. But of course, Stefan was caught up with him in that, and he has made his way up to P6 and actually up 3 spots from where he started as well. So that is also pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, no stranger to impressing us.
Not at all.
At least he's got a teammate with him this season, Connor Brody. He's not obviously not up there tonight, but the kid can drive.
Yeah, he sure can. Sitting there in P19 at the moment, down 1 spot from where he started. I think this style of racing in general, not really the speciality of the wider Blackout OPR group. So to have Connor in Div 1, um, even just inside the top 20 at a track like this, pretty decent.
Oh no, they're V8. They've got V8 drivers. They've got some good ones that race in Scops and probably in the that other one Logitech series.
Okay, clearly I don't know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, Australian team. So you know, there's a lot of racing that goes on over there that you don't even hear about. The amount of series, like you know, like since COVID, you know, we thought of New Zealand was good. You know, we finally had racing, but Aussie, it's triple, quadruple the amount of racing that there used to be over there. Obviously, more people means more races.
Yeah, COVID was certainly a good time for sim racing, wasn't it? The number of people, myself included, that went out and bought a sim and really grew that community, not just in Australia or New Zealand, but around the world as well. And I think the number of high level professional racing series that showcased sim racing because they couldn't showcase anything else during that time probably helped fill that as well and really raise the profile of it. And great to see that while some of those guys have dropped off, still plenty of interest and plenty of community engagement in sim racing in New Zealand. So Stefan McCartan closing in on Michael Gunstone now, and this is a battle for P5. Stefan wasn't able to show his form that we're used to seeing in qualifying down there in P9. Got caught up in that drama, but as the race has gone on, he's come into his own, started to get into the rhythm of this track, and yeah, despite coming a cropper there on lap one, he's worked his way up to be already up 3 spots from where he started and looking to make it 4.
Just seen in the comments. Nico's concentrating on the P Cup, and Scotty says P Cup sounds terrible. One P Cup, 25 drivers. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Oh, shit. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Oh, I hope you're enjoying because there's more to come on Thursday, folks. GTE at Spa should be a lot of fun, and also looking forward to next week. We're clicked on the wrong one. We're up to Sebring in the V8, Daytona. So America, we're off to next week for both races. I bet you that wasn't planned, but it happened.
Yeah, thank you, iRacing, for that little coinky dink.
Yeah, less travel.
So
No.
starting to get down towards the end of this one now. Lap 26 out of 33, so going to be 7 laps to go at the end of this one, and Stefan really piling the pressure on Michael Gunstone there. Has a look down the inside. This is a very tight spot, but he's able to give enough space. Leo Duncan showing some interest in the background, see if he can slide his way through. He has managed
Oh,
to
is he
get...
gonna? He does.
Yeah, he has. Good job, Leo Duncan. Right there, and just followed Stefan through.
Hey, Gunners has a reputation of being hard to pass too, so well done. Stonesy's still behind him.
He is, and that was a tricky spot to even think about going for a move. And not only did Stefan manage to outbrake him there on the dirty side of the track, but he managed to scrub off enough speed that he could give him the space that he needed to on the exit. And with both those guys being compromised on such a slow corner, that gave Leo the ability to carry the momentum through and just um, get that run on the inside into the fountain section. And Michael was left with pretty much nothing he could do to hold off Leo there.
Uh, no worries, Nathan. You might have already left when he handed it out. I'm not too sure, but that was generally people that do it, not pointing fingers.
So Leo has stuck with Stefan since they both made their way around Michael Gunstone as well, and I think he's been on a little bit of a charge because Stefan had made his way by Jared and Michael, but by the time we got to Michael, Leo was right there. So,
Oh, a little touch in
oh,
the wall.
yeah, they're going to be side by side, and Leo gets the spot. Of course, our pole sitter from tonight, and Stefan can only manage to qualify in ninth. So, Leo is certainly more comfortable around this track in this car by the look of it, and was able to get that move done. Only a couple more spots needed to get onto the podium, but he's got just over 4.5 seconds to Jason Cossey, teammate Jason Cossey, the next car. But I'd be surprised if Jason slows up here to let him get that spot. Potentially, if he gets to him, he might not make it too hard for him to see if he can never crack it Plucky. But yeah, I think at this stage it's going to be full charge for Jason. He's probably got his eyes on Plucky and picking up a podium, but yeah, Leo's going to have to work to get there, and I think with 6 laps remaining at the end of this one, well, could be doable. What's the pace difference like?
Anything's possible. It only takes one mistake, one decent hit into the wall, and all of a sudden you got a meatball flag.
Yeah, that's right. So last lap for Leo was a 28.5. Last lap for Jason was a 28.9. So only 4 tenths between them there. But of course, on that lap was when Leo made his way around Stefan. So this time around should probably be slightly more representative. And he's done a 27.6 while Jason's done a 28.7. So almost a second. And the gap now is 3.5 seconds, and there's 6 laps remaining. So certainly not out of the question that he could get there.
Yeah, a little bit of damage on the front left-hand corner of Daniel Hederscheid's car. His last lap, he was a 1:28.38, so he was about almost a second off Bruce, and these cars behind a little bit faster. So can't be impairing him too much.
Yeah, we actually missed Bruce getting past Daniel, but we do have a replay of that. So this must have been fairly shortly after the restart, and fires it down the inside, gets the job done. I say it must have been fairly shortly after the restart because Plucky was still right there with them, and he's a couple of seconds back from Daniel now. So looks like that was while they were all still bunched up, and Bruce just outbraked him into turn one and got the job done much more cleanly than his earlier attempt, and he's been able to pull nearly 3 seconds on him now. Oh, that sounded like someone into the wall hard.
It did. It sounded like some sort of contact into the wall.
Might have been Tony Lynch. Oh,
Oh,
he
yeah,
certainly has been into the wall.
yeah. Engine on the cusp of blowing. Nearly at the end of the lap, though.
Yeah, he's going to try and pull it back, but oh, look at that front right wheel. How he's managing to turn that thing left, I have no idea. Looks like he's going to be able to drag it back, so we shouldn't need another safety car. We'll jump to the replay on that one, see what happened. Yeah, so it was at the end of the back straight, so this is why we heard it from turn one, because right across the other side of that wall is turn one.
There's a decent hit into the wall, so he's made it back to pit lane now. Get himself a fast repair if he's got it. It is one of those things that if you've got it ticked and you go into the lane to get your fuel stop and you've got minimal damage, it'll do your fast repair. And then when you really need it, no, you don't have it, and that hurts your feelings.
Has Sean been generous enough to give us unlimited fast repairs again this season?
I don't think so. I can tell you. Oh yeah, no limit.
There we go, so he should be okay as long as he's still got it ticked.
Wow, no limit. Wow. Well, I have to talk to Sean about that.
Well, it's the same for GTS. I think it's been that way for a while, hasn't it?
Oh, oh, give them one. Give them one. It'll make them race cleaner. Maybe, maybe.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't.
Well, a place like this, it's probably a good thing. You've got all those fast repairs. As we see Jason Cossey and that's Leo Duncan coming up behind him. So we'll see a pass, will we?
Yeah, and I did say Jason might not make it too hard if Leo was able to get there, and he didn't make it hard. So I think Leo is keen to have a crack at Plucky. What's he got there? 2.8 seconds. Last lap, exactly a second difference. So, and there's going to be a couple of laps left at the end of this one.
Yeah,
He's
nearing
just going to
nearing
have
the
to,
end of that first round.
yeah, he's going to have to give it everything. I wonder if there's a deal in place that if he doesn't get there, that Jason gets the spot back.
Yeah, he's already put a good gap to Cossey, so I could see that he's getting closer to Plucky.
Yeah, he's on it, isn't he? He's already pulled that back to 2.3. He's absolutely flying. Last lap was a 28.39 versus a 28.9 for Plucky. But obviously, while Jason did get out of the way and didn't make it too hard for Leo there, I think there was still a little bit of time lost in catching him and orchestrating that one. But we're going to be onto the final lap next time around. He's still got 2.2 to make up, so I don't think he's quite going to have enough.
Yeah, running out of laps, unfortunately.
It's under 2 seconds now, though. If he can put in a big final lap, he might be able to have a lunge somewhere. But Bruce Tannock takes the white flag, 1 lap to go, and he didn't have the best of qualifying. Started P5, obviously took advantage of Leo and Darren dropping out from in front of him after that lap 1 carnage, and put on a couple of nice passes as well to move to the lead. Put a nice one on Daniel Hedderscheid just after the safety car restart there, after not quite pulling it off earlier in the race, being asked by racing control to redress, and pulled off a nice, much cleaner move later on after the safety car took the lead and hasn't looked back since then. He's just been winding that gap out and has it out to just over 3.5 seconds over Daniel Hedderscheid now. Just has to keep it clean for the last few corners now.
Stonesy right up on the bumper of Gunners. Matthew Pluck, Michael Gunstone, Michael Jones, all where they started.
That's always a good result around here, isn't it? Finishing where you started.
Yeah, well, you'd like to have the green numbers beside your name with the plus.
Absolutely you would, but finishing where you started, no loss, no gain. At least you didn't lose, and it's very easy to lose around here. But Bruce Tannock, definitely not losing tonight. Takes out the win. P1. Daniel Hedderscheid, 3 seconds behind, comes across in P2. Matty Pluck rounds out the podium in third. Leo Duncan, not able to get there in the end in that podium battle, comes home P4. Not giving the spot back to Jason Costy since he couldn't get there. Jason coming home P5. Stephen McCartan is just towed back to the pits in P6. Jared Eccleston comes home P8. Trent Bennett finishes P9, has just towed back to the pits. Peter Vanderberg rounding out the top 10. Roger Forbert 11. Russell Pepperell 12th. Darren Lobb, not his night tonight. Qualified on the front row, but can only bring it home in P13 after picking up the drive-through for that lap 1 incident and getting tangled up later on as well. Jono Gibson P14, Michael Jones P15, Scott McKenzie P16, Blake Greenhill P17 has just been lining up that property edge Mustang. Eamon Young P18, Derek Lovegrove P19, Chris Zapasich P20, Tony Lynch a lap down in 21st, Darren Lord 22nd, and looks like Connor Brodie might have pulled the pin early, might have been the last of our retirees, only did 25 laps in 23rd there, and then Zach Christie, Nathan Cadman and Billy Rowley also DNFing from that one.
And that's all she wrote.
It is. That's it for the first round, first race of our new season. With
Great
the
shot.
yeah, that's very cool, isn't it? The Gen 3 is back on track for another season, and very cool to see the guys doing battle out there at Chicago. And for a track that is so tricky to get cleanly around, I think everybody did pretty good to keep the racing nice and clean. We only had the one safety car. We did see that lap 1 incident as well, and a few other little things, mostly just guys going into a corner too deep and putting themselves into the wall. Not too much in the way of contact, although there were a few penalties handed up that we didn't quite pick up the incidents that they were handed out for. So maybe a little bit that we didn't quite pick up on, but still certainly looked pretty clean on our end. So big ups to the drivers for delivering a relatively clean race at such a tricky track. But wow, that's it. Um,
Just
yeah,
quickly, we're going to give away 20 iRacing credit tonight, but we will pass it over to the GTE, and we're going to work out a way to give that away for Thursday and the GTEs.
yeah, sounds good. So turn up
Actually,
Thursday.
we've got Bull, and we'll have a wee bit of a chat about the Toyota Cup. I think that's perfect that he's jumped in. So, how was that, Matthew Clark? Third place, you'll take it?
Yes, I think it's my best result I've had so far with you guys. So it's a good one to chalk up, start the season.
Yeah, it is, and you're a busy man. You're putting together a pretty cool race in the GR86. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a real cool opportunity with the guys at Cream Insurance, who are putting up one of their 286 Cup cars for a test drive, fully covered with race team and everything to prep the car, train you, and put you out on the track for a day to see kind of what you can do behind the wheel of a real car. So that's real exciting. Entry forms are out for that at the moment. They're open till this Saturday, midnight this Saturday. And we're racing on Mondays, so the main series is on Mondays. So you can still run that and come back to supercars and that on Tuesdays as well. Although a little bit different, probably complete opposite as far as cars go.
Yeah, and some cool tracks as well. The lineup, and I don't know if we still had it in there, but that Roval that we talked about,
Yeah,
that is in
yeah.
there. Oh,
The Miami Road Course. It's actually a real cool road course, but I never see it get used. So it'll be real cool to run that. I think we've got a real good mixture of tracks. We've got Long Beach as well for circuit track. I say for a street track, so it's always good to have at least one street circuit in there. So it should be a lot of fun. And those cars they draft well and you end up in a pack the whole time. So even though they're a bit slower, they provide a lot of action and you'll be pretty busy the whole way through.
and how are the numbers stacking up so far?
Yeah, really good. Last I checked, we're up around 70 entries. So that's really cool. We've got a couple of stages of qualifying to go through. So we end up with the 30 car final grid out of those 70 plus entries that we have.
Yeah, to be a couple of nights of pre-qualifying to weed out the slower drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a time trial based stage 1 qualifying. And we take the top 52 times set and put the guys out on track together in a 3-race format, and the top 30 from that progress through to the final series, which is a 5-round series.
How good. And when does that kick off?
So the first stage of qualifying is actually next Monday. So it'll be the 31st. I think, is it 30 days or 31 in March? I can't remember. But first stage is
30.
this Monday, and then there's about a week's gap between stage 1 and stage 2, so people can do liveries and practice, all that kind of stuff. And then the main series kicks off after Anzac weekend, so I think that's about 28th of April, I think, from memory.
Plenty that'll give people a chance to get into that RA 500 over Anzac weekend too.
Oh
You'll
mate,
be all
I
about
am
that, won't you?
so pumped for that, man. It's my favourite car. I'm still gutted you guys dropped that into the series race you were doing with the Audi. Fuck, I love that car. So I haven't had much luck in that event last couple of years. I got murdered twice in the first stanza last year, so hopefully we'll do a bit better this year.
Yes. Well, there we go. So that's the NZ86E Cup. Look out for that. It's all over all of the social media pages. NZ Sim Racing TV will be streaming it, and check it out in the NZ Sim Racing Hub or your community that you're racing in. And thank you very much, Plucky, and good luck next week.
No, cheers, guys. I don't actually know if you guys did interviews tonight, but I'll just come bait in here if you want to have a chat. Drag man.
Yeah, well, we've got Brucey waiting in there now, so we'll bring him in for a quick yarn, and yeah, we'll see you out there next week, mate.
Good stuff. Cheers, guys.
I'll let you take this Brucey one, Shano. Give you something to talk about.
All right. Bruce P1. Good effort tonight after qualifying a little bit further down the order, but you picked your way through the carnage and got to the front.
Yeah, it was turn 1 was a bit of an adventure. Like Leo pulled hard left and left him and Darren. It was just, it looked bad news from day 1. And then Matthew got a storming start and Daniel got a good start. So I just thought, okay, I'll sit back. And then obviously it kind of unfolded, and yeah, no, that was good.
You had to have a couple of cracks at getting by Daniel. You were asked to redress on the first attempt, but made it much cleaner just after the safety car there. How was that for you?
Oh, I think he just realised that he wasn't fast enough to keep me behind him, and it was going to end in tears. But yeah, the first one, he tagged the wall pretty hard and then still tried to save the corner. But I understand I missed the apex by a couple of feet, but I normally consider if you smash into the wall, you kind of have to concede that you might have made an error. But no, that's good. I did a couple of officials this week. On this track, it's certainly a, I guess you call it an acquired taste. 33 laps is a bit fucking much, but it's not bad if you're in P1.
Yeah, certainly a tricky place, and there were a few mistakes out there, guys, getting into the wall. But to be fair, for the most part, it looked pretty clean from our end, although there were a few penalties handed out that we didn't quite pick up on the stream.
Yeah, Darren, I was in Discord with Darren and he got destroyed twice. He made passes and then the person, I think, on a couple of occasions bagged it up and just destroyed him because he was actually, with the safety car coming out, he was on the cards to probably make it back to top 4 or 5 on the pace, because I think Leo made it back to 5th or 4th or something, yeah, because with the safety car closing everything up.
Yeah, Leo got back to 4th. Certainly his teammate Jason Cossey didn't put up
Fight,
much of a
yeah.
fight for that one, but yeah, looked like with a couple more laps he might have got to Plucky for the podium as well, so he was certainly on a storming finish there.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, it's good to first week, and then there's no drop rounds this year, so I'll have to turn up every Tuesday. And I've got obviously a few spots back to Leo and a couple more back to Stefan, I think. So, but of course, Darren, I think Darren's going to miss at least 1 week, so he'll struggle on points. That is, he'll win probably every other race, but he'll miss one, which will give us all a chance.
Yeah, that's the the challenge with the no drop rounds format is if you don't show up every week, then it puts you on the back foot, doesn't it?
Yeah, not showing up, but also in this field, it's getting taken out is also a very, very. If you don't qualify, great. Or even if you say pit and then come out in some traffic, it's everyone's fighting for sheep stations. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the win tonight, Bruce, and good luck for next week.
Thanks, boys.
All right, so
Oh,
that.
hey, I was just waiting for Bruce to leave because my headset's gone flat and I can't hear you anymore. But I will be on Thursday.
All right, well, I'll wrap it up since Corey can't hear me. I'll just talk to everybody at home instead. So big thanks to Allports and SimLab for backing the V8 series for another season. And if you want to get yourself a discount on that SimLab gear, head over to allports.nz. Enter the code SimLabNZ at checkout and you'll get 10% off that SimLab gear. Actually check that out. Big thanks as well to Jigsaw Projects. We actually haven't talked about them tonight, but Steve Darren off in Fiji at the moment. That's his company though. Jigsaw Projects. Hit up Steve if you need any work done, and he'll sort you out. I think he's mostly retired at the moment, but he might be able to help you out if you shout out Supercars NZ and see if he can sort you out with that one. So get in touch if you need any work done there. And big thanks as usual to everybody tuning in at home. I'll say thanks to Corey, even though he can't hear me now, but he might tune in on the stream later and hear that. So thanks, Corey, for sitting in alongside me tonight. And we will call it a night, and we will see you all on Thursday for the first round of the GTEs as we head to one of my favourite circuits on the sim, Spa. See you there.